Hey, Foamy, I want the news, not the weather. Hey, Keegan, did you see me zing Werewolf Wellborn?
Medley!
Traumatic childhood.
He needed those. He really did.
Which is true. Means that for us all.
Up yours, children. Why does his mind look like that?
Welcome to No Kids 3 Money, a Simpsons podcast through the lens of time. It's your new favourite podcast about your old favourite show. Please remember to like, subscribe, comment, anything wherever you're listening or watching. I'm one half of your host, Ned.
And I'm Matt.
I don't know why that was so difficult. And the man on the ones and twos behind the camera over here.
Hello.
Hello.
Hey. Nothing new about this week's episode at all.
Not at all.
No. We always look like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Crisp. 30 frames per second. 1080p. Perfect point of view cameras that
Small.
require no editing whatsoever.
Yellow. Different.
Enhance.
Oh.
What do we have in store for the people this week, Matt?
We have 3 episodes. Season 2, episode 14. Season 11, episode 4. And season 21, episode 6.
Yes, we do.
No more questioning my integrity. We've been through this.
Would you like
You do
to
not love Homer and Marge. You love Mr. Burns.
It's like kissing a peanut.
Mom, Dad.
Cowabunga dudes.
Your salad, sir. Try this.
I can't afford that. I'm an educator.
Seymour.
I'll take it.
Homer, my sister is not going out with Barney Gumble.
Hey, Selma's no prize pig herself, you know.
Bart, come cheer up your Aunt Selma.
Okay.
What did you learn in school today?
Principal Skinner's gonna ask Aunt Patty to marry him.
Thanks, kid. You made my day.
All right. Do you want to start us off with season 2, episode 14?
Sure do. This one is titled Principal Charming. The synopsis reads, Selma begs Marge to help her find a husband and she enlists Homer's help. Meanwhile, Bart gets in trouble at school and Homer is brought in to talk to Principal Skinner, who decides would be perfect for Selma. I'll continue now. Homer invites Skinner to dinner, but he falls in love with Patty instead of Selma. Patty and Skinner start dating, much to Selma's unhappiness. Skinner proposes to Patty, but she rejects him because of a bond with Selma.
But Mindy, you are an
Murphy.
elf uncontrollably.
I think. I'm getting tired about these jokes about my...
The first such instance happened in 1972.
Oh, fuck. All right. My first note is, due to the episode's romantic theme, the air date was pushed back to Valentine's Day on February 14th, 1991. It was, however, ready to be aired several months earlier.
Say that last part of the sentence again.
It was, however, ready to be aired several months earlier.
Okay, for some reason my brain just didn't compute when you said ready to be aired, and all I heard was da-da-da-da. And I was just like, what?
Vigorous jazz hands.
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da.
The reason I mention this is because we've sort of debunked that they'll make these episodes obviously ahead of time, like 6 months or so, but they won't necessarily release them as they're ready.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or as they they might complete them in a completely different order to what they actually end up releasing the episodes in.
Yeah, because like sometimes you'll see something that probably should have been explained earlier.
Yeah. And it tends to fall into 2 different categories of like what you just explained, which is they specifically chose it for Valentine's Day because it had a romantic theme to it, as opposed to we've not noticed there has been like factoids about episodes that have had like animation problems or something that needed to be like redone or something like that. So it was scheduled to be aired at like the start of a season, but it's being moved back.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Correct.
My first note is just, remember you said you would try to limit pork to 6 servings a week.
Yeah, I've got that quote as well. That was in relation to like, his health? He was talking about the new barbecue joint that opened up that Barney had called him about.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And-
because my first note was going to be, what the fuck is all over Barney's face? But then it's kind of explained straight away. I was like, what? Why is he just
covered in
sauce?
sauce.
Shit?
Yeah. Literal doo-doo. Been eating turds.
Turd hole.
Well, into the turtle.
A greater tragedy my eyes have never beheld.
Oh, fuck. Don't have the Futurama soundboard this week for reasons.
Yeah. So I can't remember exactly what happens for. Oh, no, that's right. So then they call Patty and Selma and trying to organize them to babysit for the night.
Yeah.
My next note is Julie Kavanaugh has a crazy voice, and I'm sure I've said it before, and I'll fucking say it again. It's just like, it's weird. It's like how somebody can be so good at making something sound terrible.
Yeah.
If you get what I mean. Like when, I can't remember exactly what happens in between then and there, because I think it's a relatively quick cut of them sort of accepting the babysitting gig after saying that they'll like flake out on a wedding.
Yeah, that was like a brief note I'll bring up now is they ring Patty and Selma at work, and then it's established that they work at the DMV, which hasn't been portrayed yet. Then we also see first appearance of Mole Man.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize it was his first appearance.
Yeah. So I've got a note about that. Mole Man's voice was also provided by Castellaneta, while his driver's license in this episode showed his name as Ralph Mellish, which is a reference to a Monty Python sketch. He was later given the name Mole Man by Groening, who thought the character looked like a mole.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And that just, we can continue on from there. They accept the babysitting thing. They say they can get out of that wedding.
Yeah, but I think there is a little bit of like a Selma's having like a little bit of a flashback in between that, because it's sort of established that it's two of their colleagues that are dating, and the only reason they're dating is because what's the guy's name? Stanley. Stanley is like obviously like Selma, and they like are about to sit together at lunch, and then Patty just butts her way in.
Yeah.
Because there's this weird like dynamic that's established between them already, that like Selma is this like, you know, sort of desperate. I don't know how old she's, because they're older than Marge, right?
Yeah.
And Marge and Homer are supposed to be like, what,
36?
Yeah, they're the same age.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they're like 36 or something like that. So you could assume that Selma and Patty are maybe like 40.
Yeah.
Like rough estimate kind of thing. So, yeah, Selma's got this personality trait of like just like desperately wanting to settle down and have kids before it's too late. And then for some reason, Patty is voluntarily celibate.
Okay.
Yeah. Don't you remember Marge saying that?
Yes.
Yeah, she says it's Patty who chose the life of celibacy. Selma had celibacy thrust upon her.
Yeah, that's right. Does that mean she was just not able to conceive?
No. Celibacy.
She's chosen to do it.
It's like choosing not to have sex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Me.
Oh.
But what happens in between? So the point that I was trying to make is, yeah, we go through that like little flashback sequence. Then it cuts to Selma singing to Lisa.
Yeah, I got a note on that.
Yes.
Someone's had about 40 darts before singing Lisa to sleep.
Which is my point of like, it's amazing that somebody can make something like make something sound bad, which makes it good kind of thing.
Yeah, picture like swallowing a handful of gravel and then trying to sing in a nice voice.
Yes.
That's what Selma sounds like.
100%. And that's probably what has ruined her voice over the years, like doing things like that.
Yeah, true.
Which is why Marge now sounds like her sisters.
Yeah, it could be.
It's just sad. Like, you hear her voice in like a recent episode, like a season 30 onwards episode, even like in season 20, it's like
horrific.
Oh, it's fucked.
Yeah.
She should have retired years ago.
Yeah.
So fucking bad.
Yeah. I think it's just, aging as well. Like even Homer sounds slightly different.
She'd be like in her 70s.
Yeah.
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 They all would be close to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Probably. There
They're all gonna
was
die soon.
after we get that scene of Selma singing Lisa to sleep, it goes back down into like the TV room or whatever. And it's just like a still shot of Patty sleeping, and she's got like sort of a nighty looking thing on, but she's got her legs spread, her fucking head's back, and her mouth is wide open, and she's got a dart in her head, and she's snoring.
She's making the worst fucking noises, just like
exactly like that. Yeah, it just really portrayed her as a disgusting character.
Yeah. Like they're sort of trying to, it's weird. They've got a little bit of a duality in this episode of like trying to establish that some people find them absolutely like fucking abhorrent and then other people are attracted to them, as we'll get to in a minute.
Yeah.
But I think after that is when Selma pulls Marge into the kitchen and says that she needs help finding a husband, and Marge sort of agrees to help her. Then essentially corners Homer in bed and says, remember when we went to, what did they go to? They went to like where the fuck did they go? Can't remember what state they went to, but it was so that Homer could see a car that was shaped like a bowling pin.
Yeah.
And apparently when he did that, he said, I owe you any favor to be called upon whenever, for whatever reason.
Yeah.
So she enlists him to find a husband for Selma.
Yeah.
And we get that great fucking scene, which comes up several fucking times, but it's like the first iteration of it. It's a Terminator reference, isn't it?
Yeah.
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 Whereas
And
I
it was
walk-
that and RoboCop were the two main references.
Okay, where he's like walking through the power plant and he's like, must find man. And he's like squinting and getting all like the readouts on people.
Yeah.
The first one is
Carl, ... too attractive.
Cons, too attractive.
Yeah. Another one that was good was Apu. His con was dangerous profession.
Oh, I don't have that one written down.
I've got one more, the Laramie sign, so the cigarette sign. Pros, smoker. Cons, just a sign. So, yeah, there's a couple of scenes of him, like, scanning through, like you said, like, different people and signs and stuff like that. And then he gets the phone call while he's at Moe's that Bart has. What has Bart done? That's when he figures out he's in science class with Martin, and Martin sort of offhandedly mentions that the substance that they're using is a tetrahypersulfate or something.
He said it's a herbicide, which is, I think, something that kills plants.
Yeah.
So Bart gets a big ass bag of this, and that's I was confused as to what my next note was, but now it's triggered my memory, which is why did he write his own name? He just writes Bart in giant ass letters on this field and like burns it into the grass with this substance.
And Skinner even brought that up. He's like, "How did you think you were going to get away with it by writing your own name?"
Yeah.
Had the same questions as we did,
which he just doesn't think about whatsoever.
Yeah.
Homer gets the phone call at Moe's, and like Bart takes the opportunity to make it a prank call, looking for homosexual, and then puts Skinner back on the phone. He loses his shit at Moe. I also found it weird that like Moe knows Principal Skinner enough that it's like, oh, this is definitely Principal Skinner, kind of thing. It's like just some weird unexplained connection or whatever. Then Homer gets on the phone, comes down, does the fucking Terminator thing with Skinner again as he's talking.
Yep.
Pros, dislikes the boy. Cons, possible homosexual. Not homosexual, homosexual.
Yeah, that was great. There was also in Skinner's office when he was going off at Bart, and there was like the big files of all the things that Bart has done. Instead of, like an emergency axe on a wall encased in glass.
Oh, yep.
It was a board of education, and it was just a paddle.
Yeah, and he said something about like breaking it out of retirement, or he wishes that he was allowed to.
Yeah. I thought it was just like a nice niche touch.
Yes. Or did you notice like right at the end of that scene, Homer, after he like sort of lines up Skinner to come to his house to set him up with what he thinks is going to be Selma.
Yep.
He fucking tenses his fingers together and says excellent, like Burns.
I missed that.
It's like it happens as it's like fading out to what would be an ad break, but goes into the next scene. Yeah, he's full like excellent. It's weird. Threw me off. I don't know whether they'd completely established that as like a Burns catchphrase at that point in time, though. Maybe it was just sort of like a widespread thing of like, this is the way that people say it in the show.
It's like, like a conniving way to say that your plan's working, essentially.
Yes. Or maybe it's like something that comes from one of the writers or something like that from their like personal lives.
Yeah. I think there was like a couple of notes that I took that were in relation to the writers' personal lives throughout one of these episodes, when we'll get to it naturally. But
yeah.
There was a scene just when Skinner saw like he could smell the herbicide, and he runs up that clock tower and then looks down at the spiral staircase, which was basically a shot for shot of the movie Vertigo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so another old movie referenced in an early season. And yeah, there was a good Skinner quote when Homer invites him over to dinner. He's like, a home-cooked meal would be a nice change of pace.
Yeah, I was confused as to what that was like referencing. It's like, do you just like never eat a home cooked meal? It's like, don't you live at home with your retired mother?
Could be that, and it could also be just like how much work goes into being principal. Like, there's never really time to sit down and cook yourself food.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I know a lot of people in that position have very little time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, sorry, I got one more thing. It was was this the first instance of Bart and Skinner being in and out of school situation together? Because you know how
because there's not many.
Yeah, there's a lot of, not coincidental, but it's usually when Bart's done something wrong, Skinner loses his job. And I know it doesn't happen in this instance, but he's coming and seeing Bart outside of school, and they've got that sort of back and forth where they can make fun of each other, sort of.
Yeah,
take the piss a little.
I get what you mean.
Yeah.
But I can't think of any other instances that it's happened other than the time that you like mentioned where he does get fired. My next note is just smoke them in good health, which is what Apu says after he sells like cigarettes to Selma and Patty.
They've both got a different type. I think one of them likes high tar, and the other one has some other iteration.
Something, yeah.
It's like Lady Laramie or something.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah, Lady Laramie like 40s or something like that. And that Selma's like aggressively asking for high tar ones.
Yeah. Yum. Did you catch Willie's voice being like very strange? Because this was his first appearance in the show as well.
We're getting a lot of first appearances in these last couple of weeks. But no, I didn't.
Yeah. So he sort of sounded like a leprechaun to me. And the reasoning for that was originally Willie was just written as an angry janitor, and the fact that he was Scottish was added during a recording session. Castellaneta was assigned to do the voice, but he didn't know what voice to use. Sam Simon, who was directing at the time, told Castellaneta to use an accent. He first tried using a Spanish voice, which Simon felt was too cliched. He then tried a big dumb Swede, which was also rejected. For his third try, he used the voice of an angry Scotsman, which was deemed appropriate enough and was used in this episode. Originally thought by the directors to be a one-shot appearance, Willie has since become a common recurring character.
Really?
So he was going to be, just a one-time thing.
I mean, there's probably a bunch of characters like that, to be honest, that ended up just getting a better reception than what they thought. And they're like, oh, we'll just keep them around.
Yeah. It's like a good dynamic to have people of different, dialects to break up the show a little bit.
Yeah. Definitely like different nationalities and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Because, it does sort of like always cut through with the American accent.
Yeah. Distinguishable.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think we have to have more context before my next note.
What's the next note?
I think Skinner likes his balls being stepped on.
Maybe.
Let me remind you, I was on some psychedelic substances while I was taking these notes. So it might be a little bit weird. It's after we've gone through like a couple of the montages of him. Because, he comes to the house and Patty brings out a plate of food and he becomes like infatuated with her after seeing her.
Yeah.
Because Selma's too like nervous to go out there and actually talk to him. So their whole plan is backfired and Patty's not really particularly interested in him, but allows him to take her on a couple of dates. And the first one, he gets like punched into the fucking wall, and then there's like a montage of him like trying to like kiss her and stuff like that, and he gets slapped and just like can't remember whether he gets spit on, but I feel like he does. So I think that's where that note came from. I was like, Skinner seems to really enjoy getting hit in the face.
Yeah, that makes sense.
So maybe he enjoys other things.
Couple of electrodes to the nards.
Yeah.
Well, he's got mummy issues. It makes sense.
Yeah, it does when you think about it.
True. And at this point,
he's a war veteran.
So it isn't known that he's sort of assumed someone's identity either.
Yeah, true.
So yeah, there's a lot of probably deep-seated issues that he has.
Oh yeah, 100%. Have you got it? What's your next note?
The Springfield revolving restaurant. We saw this in Hit and Run. Do we see it in the series much? And our question got answered very, very quickly.
Yeah, it's so funny that you made that note, but we'll get to that in like a period of time.
Yeah.
Don't know how long. This is not going to be a long episode.
Yeah.
My next note is a quote. It's just your funeral, Seymour. So I think, yeah, we've gone through that montage of Skinner like dating Patty and then like Selma sort of being jealous of the whole situation happening. Then they actually like kiss outside the door. So it seems like they're like, you know, Patty's actually sort of like falling for him a little bit. Skinner comes to school and says to Bart that he's gonna ask for her hand in marriage, and his response is just, "Oh, your funeral, Seymour."
Yeah, that's it.
But like, we get this great shot before that of like the school just being in absolute fucking disarray because he's like in love and completely distracted. So Bart just has free run of the school to do whatever the fuck he wants.
Like heaps of windows are broken. There's fights everywhere, and Bart's just spray painting a wall.
He spray paints like a stick figure with like massive tits on the wall.
Yeah.
And they all say Skinner's coming. He sees it and then just sees Patty's head on it and fucking walks off.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's when he says he's gonna ask for a hand in marriage.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. There was also a good thing. I think they might have been at the drive-in movies or something. And there was a movie playing called Space Mutants from Down Under.
That was like the first date that they went on. He had to like go and watch it for like a school. He's like a ratings board member or something like that. So he had to go and watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the first date that they went on. But yeah, the terrible Australian accent.
Yeah.
Ah, come on, love.
That's exactly what I've got written down. And it sort of looks like
Fucking horrendous.
It's like the horrible gelatinous blob comes up behind their car.
And the guy that's in the car kind of looks like the ranger from the Canyonero episode.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, generic Australian man. Who
Yeah.
also looks like the generic Australian man that's in the Futurama episode.
Do you reckon there may be a takeoff of like Steve Irwin or something?
Oh, it's got to be 100. Oh, it's like an amalgamation of Steve Irwin and Paul Dundee.
Yeah, true.
Paul Dundee? Nick Dundee?
Crocodile Dundee.
Crocodile Dundee.
Yeah.
His name's Paul Hogan.
Yes.
Yes. That's where I got it confused.
Yeah. Oh. There was a quote here, but I can't remember context. It says, "Sorry, I believe that's my microwave cookery class."
She's trying to find excuses to not give Skinner like a second or third date. This is before she punches him into the wall.
Yeah, yeah.
And she says that he can come like grocery shopping with her, which he jumps at the opportunity of. Which is kind of why I also wrote that note of him being a fucking masochist.
Yeah.
Masochist? Is that the right term?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Loves pain. He's a masochist.
Right, okay.
I didn't look up the rest of this quote, but it's I think we sort of go after that. Is Homer's in the bar?
Yeah.
Like drinking sadly by himself?
Yeah, there's a good visual gag.
Which was what?
There was a sign on the wall that said happy hour 5 till 5:30. So it's yeah.
Yeah, and then Mo comes up to him and says, Homer line, you're making happy hour kind of ironic.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, my next one is when Selma's back at the Simpsons house, sitting in the like TV room, and Bart's walking through. Selma's looking all sad, and she goes, come cheer your Aunt Selma up. How was school? Well, Principal Skinner is going to marry Aunt Patty. Thanks, kid. You've made my day.
Literally the worst fucking thing he could possibly say at that point in time. That was just so perfectly timed with the dead silence after it, and she's just like, thanks.
Yeah. Fucked her up.
The thing that I noticed in that scene, though, is Selma's earrings are shaped like an S.
Yeah.
But Patty's are like a triangle. I don't really understand.
Selma's evolve into being a square or a circle at some point.
To try and like actually match like the shape theme.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do, because it threw me off that they were shaped like that. I was like, something is different about it, but I can't figure out what the fuck it is.
They probably just do it so you can tell between the two who's who.
But they have different hairstyles and they wear different colors. That's why they like.
I'd still get confused though.
Yeah, you're right. I still do.
They're
as
such
well.
similar characters.
They
Yeah.
sound
At the end of
exactly
the
the
day.
same. So
Yeah. Having one of them have a letter is good. There's not too many more notes that I have on this app.
I think I've got. I'm just trying to read and see if there's anything that I haven't read out. The last two both kind of go together. One of them's a quote. Selma's obviously like really desperate at this point in time, so she ends up going on a date with Barney. She's like dressed up all fucking like slutty for it, for lack of a better fucking word. But goes out with Barney, he takes her to fucking Moe's, and this is the same night that Skinner is proposing to Patty, and he proposes in the same way that this whole situation sort of started, by burning it into the field, which is fucking hilarious, because at the start of the episode, Bart's getting in trouble for it, and Skinner says something about, oh, you destroyed groundskeeper Willie's prize-winning field.
And you've got to like re-sow all the seeds by hand.
He then proceeds to destroy it again after it's obviously been fixed, just to propose to his girlfriend. I'm not even sure if you could say that it's his girlfriend at this point in time.
Yeah.
You're not really.
No.
Then the end of the episode kind of fell apart for me, because like, to keep the status quo, they kind of just make Patty give this weird ass excuse about like, well, I'm a twin, so I can't marry you.
Yeah.
And my note is like, it's just a very dumb reason to not marry somebody that you like.
Yeah.
Oh, because I'm a twin and we have a special connection. It's like, yeah, well, if you have a special connection with your twin would understand that there's somebody that you like and want to spend your time with.
I think, she just realizes how lonely Selma is, and then if Patty gets married, that she won't be there anymore.
Yeah.
That's
which
all
obviously
I can really put it down to.
Yeah, she, like, to simplify it, you could probably just say that she doesn't really like Skinner that much.
Yeah.
If it was somebody that she was, like, very into, then she would probably, move out of her fucking apartment with her sister.
Yeah.
But then we go from there to, we get like is it that silhouette shot of Skinner just before the end of the episode?
Yeah.
Is that a movie reference?
Didn't come up, but probably.
I'm assuming it is, because it's like it seems like a very significant shot, and the quote seems familiar to me.
Yeah.
I think the actual quote is "Tomorrow is just another day," but
Yeah, it's from
he adds in the word "school."
From Gone with the Wind. I think it was 1939.
Jesus.
One of the first movies.
Also, like, fun fact, like, if you were to account inflation, it is the highest grossing movie of all time.
Gone with the Wind.
Yeah.
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 Crazy.
It's like the first, like, real cinematic epic. Yeah.
Okay.
Interesting.
It's like,
Is that the same one as like Frankly My Dear, I Don't Give a Damn?
that is that movie. Or Casablanca. It's one of them.
True.
Yeah.
We're learning. So my last note is a quote, which made me a little bit more satisfied because it was fucking great. Patty comes in and explains in like a very small amount of words that she's broken up with Skinner.
Yep.
Selma realizes she now has an out, and she turns to Barney and goes to explain like, oh, listen, this isn't really going to work out. And she goes, listen, Barney, and just walks off.
Yeah. He's dejected for maybe 3 seconds, and then he realizes he's got a whole pitcher of beer to himself now.
Yeah, and is just, completely fine.
Yeah.
I think that's the end of the episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I had was another visual gag was when Skinner was looking at the school, like, tomorrow's just another school day. On the sign, sort of, I know that people can see as they drive past, it says Bart Simpson, owner and proprietor.
That's right, yeah. But proprietor is spelt wrong.
Oh, okay.
It's like, it's weird. All the other words are fine, like all nicely lined up, and then proprietor is like all janky, and then I can't remember exactly how it's spelt wrong, but it's spelled like proprietor or something like that.
Makes
which
sense.
is fucking great.
Yeah. Well done.
And that's the end of that chapter.
Interesting you say that.
Yeah.
Hey, Tommy, I want the news, not the weather. Mars, did you hear me sing Werewolf Flanders? Stanley!
Like how you looked at your hands. What?
Oh my god, my hands.
I got two left hands again.
Supposed to make a clapping sound. Alrighty. Treehouse of Horror 10.
Yes.
Or X, as it like to be called.
Do have a synopsis for like all three segments here.
Yeah.
They're like brief, but there's a lot of writing. Anyway, first part is titled I Know What You Diddly Iddly Did. In this parody of I Know What You Did Last Summer, the Simpsons accidentally run over and kill Ned Flanders and end up getting away with murder until someone or something haunts them with claims that he witnessed the crime. Second part of the episode, desperately seeking Xena, aka Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl, in Enter the Collector. Bart and Lisa gain superpowers. Bart gains the ability to stretch while Lisa becomes super strong after a freak accident during a candy inspection on Halloween night in the Springfield Elementary School gym, and must save Lucy Lawless, dressed as Xena, from the Collector. Life's a Glitch, Then You Die is part 3. After Homer forgets to make all the computers at the nuclear plant Y2K compliant, the Y2K bug spreads to every computer and electronic device in the world, causing a technological apocalypse.
Yes.
Thank you, Keegan.
I'm just reading through my notes and I'm like, the only thing, I've only got one thing that isn't a quote.
Okay.
Because as we've established before, Treehouse of Horror episodes are really like hard because they're just so like stilted with their storytelling because they're trying to smash through. It's not even 10 minutes. It's like, like what episodes were 20 something minutes long. So yeah, it's like roughly 8 minutes that they're trying to like retell an entire movie story in.
Yeah. I've got a couple of things that I can add to it that I've looked up, but
can't get enough of that sugar crisp. Oh, did you put the fog lights in?
Guess I forgot to put the fog lights in.
Then they hit Flanders.
Yeah. That's another catchy jingle that's always stuck in my head.
Yeah, just like something that'll just trigger it every now and then.
Like these have come up over the past month a few times. Like the Futurama one with Bender whistling that song.
Well, both of the songs that he whistles, constantly seem to like just be triggered in my memory for absolutely no fucking reason.
And then Homer's one last week, singing about food.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So they've all sort of come in the last...
Was that last week? Yeah, it was last week.
They've all come.
It's the kind I like!
Oh, Lois.
Oh, Jesus.
Are you ready to let...
Come. That poor cum. So after they've run Flanders over, they get out and inspect what has happened. Marge says, I hope that was just a dog. They go up and they see Flanders lying there lifeless. Homer goes and bends down with a stick. He's like, I think he's dead. They poke him in the eye. It's like a squelchy noise. Yeah, he's dead. And then pokes him in the eye a couple more times.
Yeah. Just to be safe.
Yeah. Check that he's really dead.
Oh, then we get one of the greatest scenes where he's on the roof with Flanders.
Oh my God. Hey, Maud. Diddley.
I'm up here with my friend Homer. Diddley.
The still ascending tone.
But if I die, I don't want any autopsies.
Nettie? Where have you been?
It's just like the dumbest shit. Then he throws him off the roof. Maud misses it, throws him in the fucking door.
Yeah, so Homer throws Ned inside and pretends he has a heart attack. Oh no, Maud, I think I'm having a heart attack. And then Homer runs away, closes the door and sort of waits for Maud to see it.
Listens.
And then Maud screams and then Homer says, that's the end of that chapter.
Right. Okay, I was wondering where you were going with that.
Yeah. Nice nod to the Police Cops episode. And I've got a note about that. In order to dispose of Flanders' corpse, Homer throws his body into Flanders' house. After he's finished, he said, that's the end of that chapter. A phrase used as a catchphrase in season 10 episode, and one that Carey often uses in his daily life. That's just something that comes up a lot in my life is when no matter if it's a good or a bad thing, just move on, he said.
Who
So
the fuck is Carey?
one of the writers, I assume.
Okay.
And the reason I wrote that down was because that's infiltrated his daily life and mind. So we've referenced before just like trigger words that someone will say that we're just having a regular conversation with, be it at work or just in general in life, and it'll trigger a Simpsons line.
Yeah.
That's just every conversation I ever have leads to a Simpsons quote, regardless of if I want it to or not.
Yeah, pretty much.
And it could even be just a noise or the way someone says something, and it'll bring it up.
Just anything, really. A fucking sign, a color, just
Yeah.
something. It's just
If you
all
want me to eat
fucking-
it, give me no sign. See? Sign. One fucking word. We've got like
It's not God,
Simpsons.
it's just a waffle. The bar tossed up there.
Sacrilegious. We've got Simpsons brain rot to put it in context for the young people that aren't listening.
Yeah, that's it. Like at least the kids today have a like wide variation of internet memes that their fucking humor is based off. We're just based off 10 seasons of one show from 25 years ago.
Is it any worse than Skibbity Toilet though?
Oh God, no.
To them it is, yeah. On the grand scheme of things, no.
Yeah.
In 50
to
years,
us,
we'll be looked at like heroes.
Yeah. Well, like it's also like one of those things where like describing it as brain rot's actually kind of accurate. I remember like growing up, my fucking parents hated it that I quoted the show so often.
Yeah, which
it's my
is
first day.
quack, quack, quack.
I am quite gay. Nobody likes Keeg House. Keeg House likes Vaseline on toast.
Keeg House!
What? Tell Ned to come home.
Tell Ned to save the audio.
I think he's at Wellborn's. Wellborn.
Who's Wellborn?
Wellborn. I specifically told him not to go to Wellborn's house.
Cut to me shooting a hard drive.
You're even accounting for the crooked audio.
Side.
You weren't cold-blooded editor, man.
So yeah, they're at the fucking funeral and Homer is for some reason Flanders' best friend and is up to give the eulogy. We're still looking for the real killer. Or straight away, he's like, I remember when Marge hit Flanders with her. No, Homer, no. They go home, and then there's like obviously like one of the main scenes from I Know What You Did Last Summer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, where the phone rings.
Homer's worried.
Yeah, he's like petrified to answer the phone, and then answers just like, "Hello."
Yeah.
I know you're alone.
Who is this?
Is this Maud Flanders? No, it's Homer. Hey, Homer.
Yeah.
So it's just Mo being a fucking sex pest. Then all the writing pops up all over the walls, and the mysterious figure in the raincoat and hat is in the corner
Like
with a hook.
the hook shadow comes up. Yeah.
They run out and jump in the car, and that's all covered in the writing as well. And then they get 30 meters down the road, and the car runs out of gas.
Yeah. Homer says something about, God, if you are real, or no, God, if you do like me, you'll get us through this.
Yeah,
the
instantly
fuel
the car
gauge
runs
drops
out of
all the way
gas.
down. Yeah.
So then he tells everybody to go and hide in those specific horror movie tropes.
Yeah.
It's like, Marge, you go hide in the abandoned
Summer camp.
Lisa's going to a
roller disco.
No. Bart's the haunted roller disco. Lisa's the haunted theme park.
Yeah.
Bro, you go to that spooky roller disco, and I'll go skinny dipping in that lake where those teens mysteriously died 100 years from tonight. Now, Flanders, I want you to.
There was a good note about the roller disco being mentioned. I didn't write it down because I thought it wasn't great at the time, but I'll bring it up anyway. One of the
And we never did.
the person who was originally writing this episode had to leave midway through doing it. So the rest of the writers sort of had to pick up the slack and finish it off. But originally this part of the episode was going to be based on in a roller disco for whatever reason. Instead of being Werewolf Nettie at all, it was going to involve some other character.
Oh, okay.
So this nearly didn't happen.
Right, because it actually felt like, when you looked at like all like those 4 things that he brings up, the roller disco was the only one with any animation. Yeah. Everything else was just like a sort of a static image, whereas like it cuts to, but you go hide in the spooky roller disco and the one of the letters falls off and you can hear faint music coming from inside. So for some reason, there was more effort put into that as opposed to the other 4.
Yeah. Could have been animated already.
Yeah, or, animated for a greater purpose, like you said.
Yeah, that's it.
Which how the fuck were they going to do an entire episode about a roller disco? Yeah. Can't think of any horror movies that end in a roller disco. I haven't seen that many, but...
I don't know.
You've seen like 3 movies, Ned.
Yeah.
Blades of Glory, maybe?
2 of them are the same, probably.
Is it in MacGruber?
Didn't that movie used to have a fuck scene in it?
Oh, you've been warned.
Come on, you've been porned. Ted's just confused looking at something still.
I'm reading my next note and I have no fucking idea where it comes from.
What's it say?
But I'm sure that once women get to know the real you, you'll get plenty of dates.
Yeah.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah, so we're essentially at the end of that first section of the episode, so we'll move on to the stretch dude and clobber girl thing.
Oh, okay.
Have you got any other notes?
Oh, I was just going to mention Werewolf Nettie because we didn't mention Werewolf Nettie at all.
Oh, yeah, we didn't. Manly.
And we'll go to the next segment now.
I know that's what you wanted.
Pretty.
Oh, this again.
Who are you calling at this time? We have dial-up situated entirely in your recording studio.
I keep expecting more to happen. I'm like, okay, where's the meme? And then I'm like, oh, this is the joke. Right, I get it.
On closer inspection, we have Wi-Fi.
You're not slow. Hey, Ned, did you not get that joke yet? You really are slow.
I put it there.
So yeah, the intro scene of like the origin story of Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl, then we get like the little theme song, and then it's Lucy Lawless at what would be like a fucking Comic-Con convention or something like that, and that's the first line that she says without any context.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that once women get to know the real you, you'll get plenty of dates.
Yeah, so that was Frink basically asking questions about, what happened in section 2A of scene 73 where this person did this when they clearly are this. And she says, a wizard did it.
Yeah, if you see anything like that, a wizard did it. And he goes to bring up another question. She's just like, wizard.
Yeah.
Then comic book guy breaks in and steals her, essentially, or kidnaps her.
He's riding like a giant magnet through what looks like a fully glass roof.
Which is fucking like a great juxtaposition because, it looks like he's got all this really fucking high-tech gear and then it turns out that it's just on the back of a shitty, rusted-out hatchback. It's got this fucking magnet attached to it.
Yeah. And then because of her outfit that she's wearing, it magnetizes itself via her chest up to the big magnet.
Yeah, she's wearing like an armor plate.
As she's getting pulled out, she says, must remove breastplate, and then pans back down to all the nerds and they just get their cameras out and start smiling. Maybe later.
Yeah. So they drive past the Simpsons house and then Bart turns himself into a pogo.
At first it like just goes to a view of his arm, which is a rake, and he's just raking leaves, and then Lisa picks up the house and he rakes the leaves under the house.
Yeah.
And then, Lucy Lawless goes past and Bart's eyes or his neck stretches out to, like, get a closer look at it.
Yeah. He says it's Xena.
Yeah.
And then, they start making their way down the front. Bart yells out the window, remember, you're vulnerable to kryptonite. Jeez, Morris, tell the whole neighborhood.
Yeah, Kryptonian powers from being X-rayed.
Yeah.
If anything, that'd be the Hulk. if we're following Marvel lore.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because it's like gamma radiation. Yeah, from an X-ray machine.
Yeah.
My next note is just one of my favorite scenes of all fucking time, because like there's that back and forth between like the Collector and Lucy Lawless. Then Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl turn up, get partially defeated.
Yep.
And then she tricks him into coming really close. He sticks his lips out. She fucking grabs his lips through the plastic and punches him in the face like 7 times in succession. It's just such a great fucking visual of just do.
Yeah. Kicks him into the wall. Or like kicks him over the balcony into the wall. And just before that scene, it's when the Collector has Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl tied up and he's got a gun pointed at them. And he says where its origin story is.
The only phaser ever built.
It was fired only once to make sure William Shatner didn't make another album. Well, that was quite classic.
And I didn't take note of who was in the plastic directly next to Lucy Lawless, but the person to their right is Matt Groening.
Yeah, Matt Groening, one of the doctors from Doctor Who, and someone else. Can't remember who.
Yeah, there is a 4th person somewhere, but I can't remember exactly where. Maybe they just mentioned by name.
Yasmin Bleeth. And I was like, who the fuck is that?
She's from Baywatch.
Yeah. Yep. Actually, I did take a screenshot of who else is there. I'll see if it's interesting at all. Nope, that's a different episode.
And it wasn't.
Yeah. Anyway. And yeah, I've got one more note for this segment, and it's when Lucy Lawless gets herself out of the sort of aluminum bag that's tied to the wall, and then she goes...
What do they call them? They put them in
Mylar
bags.
Mylar bags, yep. So she's like about to pound the shit out of him, and he's like, behold, the original lightsaber from Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. And he boxes a mint condition lightsaber.
Yeah.
And then she's like, you've removed it from its original packaging. Oh, it's no longer a collectible. So true. Yeah. Yeah, resonated well with me.
Then he dies in an epic pose and she fucking flies through the ceiling, which is fucking great. It's like, hang on, Xena can't fly. I'm told you, I'm not Xena, I'm Lucy Lawless. Oh, okay. Just makes even less sense.
Yeah. There was one more fact here. So the segment also features the series' first reference to Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace, when the Collector uses a mint-conditioned Darth Maul double-bladed lightsaber. Because the episode was written before the film's release, the writers did not know how bad it was going to be in their view, and therefore did not include any obligatory shot at the film. So they didn't want to make fun of the film before it had come out, because they weren't sure.
Yeah.
And I looked up, The Phantom Menace came out in 1999. This episode being season 11, I assume would have come out in 2000.
That fact makes no sense.
Probably would have been produced before
Okay.
Phantom Menace came out.
Yeah.
How do they know about the double-sided lightsaber?
Trailers.
Oh, yeah.
Comics?
Yes, actually, maybe. That makes more sense.
Yeah.
Because I assume there was like a whole... They're all based on books and stuff, aren't they?
They are.
No. Or those were written after the fact.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I think it was literally just based on the trailer.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Actually, yeah, now that I think about it, yeah, there is that, like... I remember the...
Wasn't he like standing?
Yeah,
Darth Maul was
it's that
standing on
scene
it?
where the door opens and he like reveals it for the first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There
Fuck,
you go.
that movie sucks balls, man.
Uh-huh.
Fucking
It made
awful.
over $1 billion at the box office.
Because it's Star Wars.
Most of the Star Wars movies have made over $1 billion at the box office.
I'm glad I've never attributed any money to that franchise.
Yeah, well, hang on. This is a different conversation for a different time.
Okay, then.
Well, maybe a different time specifically, which we'll talk to you about in a minute.
Okay, free money.
We'll return right now.
So we're on to the third section of the episode, and I have a quote and then a line, or a quote and then a fucking important note to make, which relates back to the start of the episode. So I think is it Dick Clark that runs like the New Year's? Yeah, so he's running like the New Year's in Springfield for some reason.
Yep.
They're about to drop the ball and they've just finished a performance from, he says it's Poison. Hang on, we're Whitesnake.
I thought we was Quiet Riot.
Says here we're Rat. which I've never heard of Rat.
No.
But I can't imagine that they are any good.
They're probably all just exactly
All
the
just-
same.
Yeah, I was like, there's I think there's like some joke, yeah, where like all of those, there's like a fucking some video that I've seen somewhere where like all of those bands have at least one song that are so fucking phonetically similar, like nearly the same lyrics, same notes, everything.
Probably
'Cause
even
they're
got band members that are in several of the bands.
probably, or just look exactly the fucking same.
Just like that hair metal
Yeah.
thing. It's
Yeah.
just like most of those bands sound fucking identical to each other.
Yeah. Agreed. My first note is we've got another mini flag gag. That was something that we brought up maybe a couple of weeks
yeah.
ago now. So they're watching TV or something, or they might be at the Dick Clark show.
No, they're just sitting there watching it on TV, but Homer's got a sign that says Millennium, doesn't
Yeah.
he?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fucking great.
And then I guess the next part that you were going to bring up was a important one.
The revolving restaurant, which, yeah, like we said, it's getting ridiculous at this point. We both like fully paused the show and looked at each other like, this is fucking insane.
Yeah.
Because it's literally fucking 10 years.
Yeah. Like how often do we
How-
see the revolving restaurant
Exactly.
first of all? We see a dinner date there and then 10 seasons away in the way we're watching it.
Yeah.
Perfectly syncs up to them going up there because it was like spinning out of control
Mm-hmm.
and it flies off, doesn't it?
Yeah, it like flies off like a UFO.
Yeah. And
Because everything apparently has technology in it.
that's right. Yep. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
My next note is referring to, I think it's just Reverend Lovejoy delivering a sermon about all the shit that's going wrong, essentially. And it sort of pans across the room and Legs is standing at the back. I'm like, of all people to be at a church sermon when the world's supposedly ending.
No, that's generally how that would go, though. Kind of thing. It's like those kind of people that have done terrible things for their entire life, thinking that, oh, now I can just run into a church and be absolved of all of my sins, like right at this last moment.
Yeah.
It's very like kind of typical behavior of, like at least not, all criminals in those type of movies, like rapture movies or whatever the fuck you would describe that subcategory of horror movie kind of thing.
Yeah.
Action horror or whatever the fuck. There generally tends to be one of those characters that it's like, I've been a bad guy, but now God's going to save me.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, this one's particularly hard to take notes on because it's just so fucking jumpy. There's just like the whole, everything happens and then it's really just a lot of visual gags in between the very initial scene where it's setting it up and then it's just all the technology going haywire. Or Homer goes to run off from church and he's like standing there, God's caught on something. Marge says she doesn't want him looting and he says, oh, I was going to loot you a present.
Yeah.
So he runs off and gets her a fucking...
Lady Remington.
Gets her a portable razor, which instantly attacks her and then goes through the grass. Yeah, then they're walking down the street and there's a bunch of fucking stuff going haywire.
Yeah.
The traffic lights shooting at people.
Yeah.
Then Bart finds Krusty and his pacemaker's going insane. It's stuck on Hummingbird. Nectar. I need to drink my way to nectar.
Just like the dead clown promised.
I'm not dead. I can still hear his voice on the wind. And we get like fucking... I was convinced that the scene that I spoke about before was my favorite scene of this episode, but it wasn't.
Okay.
Then we get... so they find the note, which is essentially like all the important people are being evacuated. Do you have a note of all the people that we saw in that like line?
Yep. So the important people included Mel Gibson, Major League Baseball player Mark McGuire, and Stephen Hawking, who we've all featured in season 11 already.
I was about to say at least in the last... Wait, all in season 11?
Yeah, the one was pretty much the start of season 11. Mel Gibson was the first episode. Mark McGuire was Major League Baseball last week.
My favorite part of that sentence was the conversation we had before about you censoring yourself. Yeah, the episode.
But also what, like...
At least I didn't put that button on the board that I said I was going to put on there.
Okay, free money. We'll return right now.
Other people in that line included Bill Gates, who I thought was Frank Grimes when we saw him.
Oh, okay.
Ron Howard, Jimmy Carter, Paul McCartney, Michael Jordan, and Michelle Kwan. They were all in the line to go to another...
They're
Where's it
going to
gone?
Mars.
Going to Mars, yep. And then we get the scene of Lisa walking up to the front of the line. And she's like, something about my family getting on the ship. And
Bart tries to give him fake names at first.
Does he?
Yeah, Bart or Homer tries to give him fake names. And then Lisa's like, I'm Lisa Simpson. This is the rest of my family. And then the guy's like, oh, Lisa, you're the ship's proofreader.
Just the pivotal part of the whole exploration.
And he kneels down in front of her and he tries to give her this real heartfelt speech about how she can only take one parent. He doesn't even get through the word parent before she just blank face just goes, Mom.
Yeah.
And then just grabs Marge's hand and drags her onto the spaceship.
They don't even say bye to Homer or Bart.
She doesn't even acknowledge Bart or Homer.
No.
She just walks off and Marge is kind of like, see ya.
Yeah. And then we get Bart finding another spaceship that's going to go to the same place.
Which he thinks, yes.
Yeah. And then you see them in the air. Both the spaceships are sort of side by side. And then they're starting to sort of veer off. But at that point in time, Homer's realizing or noticing all the other people that are on the plane with him, who include Pauly Shore, Tom Arnold, Ross Perot, Dan Quayle, Courtney Love, Rosie O'Donnell, Laura Schlesinger, Spike Lee, Al Sharpton, and Tonya Harding. So, like, a lot of B-list celebrities, to say the least.
And a lot of them that are like the opposites to some of the people that were mentioned before.
Yeah, exactly. And I think everyone declined in that group of people to be on the show at all, obviously because they're getting the piss taken out of them.
Yeah.
But Tom Arnold wanted to do it.
Wait, that was actually Tom Arnold?
That was Tom Arnold. My note on that section
He's
is
got nothing else going on.
that's why he's headed for the sun.
Who the fuck is Tom Arnold?
He's married to Roseanne Barr. He was married to Roseanne Barr, I think, or they maybe still be married.
No idea who that is either.
You know her if I showed you.
So she's that far on the B list.
She's actually relatively popular. She caught a bunch of flack a couple of years ago because she got on fucking, what's that sleeping drug that they all take that makes you loopy? Ambien. And I think she was like either on a podcast or a plane or something like that and went on a bit of a rant.
Didn't she say a bunch of racist shit?
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. So the note was, the Simpsons staff had a lot of trouble finding a guest star for the second rocket, and the only person who agreed to participate was American actor Tom Arnold. In the episode, Arnold is depicted as annoying, not so great celebrity. Although he was mostly in on the joke, Arnold did bust the staff's chops a little bit when recording his lines. He would say a line and then they'd yell cut and he'd look over at me and take a shot at me, one of the producers said.
Okay.
And yeah, his lines weren't great.
Oh, yeah, he's just portrayed as like the worst fucking person.
Yeah. And my only other note for this was a recurring thing that's come up. I think it was in the Burns Air episode in season 5. So Burns is obviously drafting picks of who he wants to leave his fortune to, and Martin comes on the stage. Clang, clang, clang with the trolley.
Oh, yeah. I was wondering where, like, I knew I'd heard that in the show before, but I couldn't remember where.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just some annoying as fuck show tune that Rosie O'Donnell starts singing.
Yeah. And that's when Homer and Bart eject themselves from the rocket ship.
He's just like, oh, you can't. He's like, I can't take this anymore. And Bart's like, relax, Dad. We'll be in the sun in like 2 minutes. He's like, not fast enough.
Yeah.
Ejects them, which I then decided to look up because their heads like expand and explode.
That's right.
And I was like, I wonder if that's how you would actually die in space. You're half right. Not you freeze. There's that much of a lack. Well, there's no oxygen, rather. So there's nothing for you to breathe. So your body would just shut down.
Simply breathe to death.
Depending on where you were in the universe, either your blood would completely freeze, or if you were close enough to the sun, because your blood changes matter, like it changes state of matter when you actually enter the vacuum of space, it would expand, and like your veins would just explode and stuff.
Explode, Nettie, or explode?
Or am I like wrong?
No, you're mostly correct.
Yes.
Yeah. I still think that visual of
statistician, a different kind of statistician, and a mathematician.
I just think that visual of like Bart and
This is a magic podcast.
Homer ejecting themselves from the ship is still, I think, one of the funniest like stills in the entire show. Just like them in space being like,
Yeah, just
Like bliss.
yeah.
What I also did notice is you vaguely or like
Timothy McVaguely?
you very like there's like a couple of milliseconds where you actually see Homer's head explode, whereas you don't see Bart's kind of thing.
Yep.
And I think that's just like sort of lore of like the, you know, movie or TV universe that you don't really show kids dying.
But it's
you
also
got that
done in
one,
a really
McVeigh.
cartoony way where his head pops like a balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Clearly parody, but I get what you mean.
Yeah. It's still a kid show.
And
Which we
how.
forget sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, bro, you tell me,
He's the kind I
tell me
like.
this isn't like the funniest fucking thing.
Oh, that's fucking great.
Yeah. Very good still. That could be the thumbnail.
That's an idea for a logo.
Oh, I like it.
Anyway, I think we're done here. For this part, anyway.
Yeah, years ago, this school had a pool. I was an eager young swim coach teaching American youth the revolutionary Aberdeen Crawl. It was a talented group. We were all set to go to the state finals. I shaved and waxed the boys myself.
Okay, free money.
We'll return right now.
No, I was just trying to trigger my memory as to what episode it was, but I got no fucking idea. It's like season 21, episode 5.
No.
Damn it.
Season 21, episode 6.
Ah, close.
Titled Pranks and Greens. Synopsis read: Bart learns that the best prankster in Springfield Elementary history was Andy Hamilton, who trapped Principal Skinner in a pool of worms for 3 days. Bart finds him and sees that he is unemployed and living with his mother. Bart gets him a job as Krusty's assistant. When he learns that Krusty made a large order for worms, he is worried that Andy is repeating his prank. However, he learns that it is part of an act, and Andy has been made a writer on the show. Meanwhile, Marge is chastised by the other mothers in her social circle for not serving her healthy snacks. Healthy. At their next meeting, Marge serves healthy food, but when they see the food was prepared on pots containing dangerous chemicals, they immediately run to an ambulance. Marge realizes she prefers eating unhealthy food.
Ooh, his synopsis read good.
Yeah.
Lost it as soon as you said, here's a synopsis. Read.
Synopsis read. Cat read. Yeah, the subplot in this episode was just fucking awful.
Oh, it's so fucking irritating. It was one of those things like they were trying to make a point with it, but it's like, yeah, we get it.
It didn't intertwine with the main story at all.
Which none of these season 21 plots do whatsoever.
Yeah, very few and far
it's
between.
weird. Like, I was about to say, few and far between. You're lucky to actually get one.
Yeah, that's it. We haven't really got a really great standout episode from this season yet. It is early days, but
yeah,
season 20 had the one redeeming episode.
Yeah, this, like, the main plot of this one was relatively, like, I don't know, it was all right.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It's
a symptom of, like, once again, they season 20, 21 episodes, they start off strong and then it hits, like, the 10-ish minute mark and they sort of start to fall apart until you get this weird sort of janky resolution at the end.
I think the plot for the episode was great. It just wasn't executed as well as it could have been with a better writing team. So this episode features the voice of Jonah Hill as Andy Hamilton.
Who he puts, like, no effort into it whatsoever.
No, he just sounds like himself talking, really.
No, but it's one of those things. It's like he's not even, like, there's not really even any inflection on anything that he's saying. Like, it feels like there's no emphasis. It feels like there's no effort. It's like he literally, it feels like the fucking, when Lisa's trying to record the
Lisa
voice,
line,
the Lisa line, like Krusty just runs in, hey, like all that kind of shit. It feels like he was literally there for 5 minutes and was like, oh, okay, am I done? And then just left.
Okay, Jonah, we're ready to record. And hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it was just just a piss poor performance, really.
Yeah, and it's sad to see
Well, like, what year was this episode released? We were like
2010.
2010.
15 years ago or something like that.
Yeah. So he would have been like peak of his career nearly.
Well, I think it's like just before any sort of like Oscar-worthy performance that he's
Right.
done. Like, there's no like Wolf of Wall Street or
The Jump Street movies were out, weren't they?
I think it's like just after that.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think it's still very much in that like that Judd Apatow
Yep.
like stoner movie era of his career.
Yep.
That doesn't change the fact that he put no effort into the performance.
He puts no effort into those performances, you know. half of his,
Yeah, but
half
that's
of the
the
joke
appeal.
is just like he's fat.
Yeah.
That's the
Like-
And he's got
appeal
curly
of it,
hair.
though.
Yeah, he's
It's
fat,
weird.
curly hair.
Yes, but that's why it's appealing in those contexts. But for this one, it just didn't make sense to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Probably just to like slap on advertisement. Oh, Jonah Hill's in this episode.
It's
Well, it's also that, and it's the fact that it's like in these season 21 episodes, it's just I think it's just another struggle for them to try and stay relevant. It's like, oh, who's like the hot topic at the moment? Well, he's in these movies, therefore we'll just cram him into this episode in some capacity.
yeah. But it's to me it was sad because I was reading up a little bit about this, and we know there's not many cultural references to the season 20 and onwards episodes, like barely anything compared to what we're used to. But it was Hill estimated that he had written 100 Simpsons scripts as a child. He sent letters with ideas to the show's writers, but received no response. While recording, he was able to tour the writer's room. So that to me screams that he's watched The Simpsons growing up, and it has somewhat molded him in a way that it has
Huge
molded
fan
all of
by
us.
The sounds of it.
Yeah, to like be a kid and writing scripts to hopefully get the writers to read them is anything more than we ever did. And we love the show this much, whereas how much would he have had to have loved the show to put that much time and effort into doing that? And then finally gets his fucking guest appearance and throws that out.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like if you are Jonah Hill at that point in time and you get asked to go on The Simpsons, it is The Simpsons, but you are also Jonah Hill at that point in time. You are quite an influential comedian. You probably could have tried to punch up the episode a little bit if you felt it was necessary, rather than just delivering the fucking lines
But I think
in
it's
a half-assed way.
I think it's also like a huge symptom of like how these season 20 to 21 episodes are directed and scripted. Like, it might not even just be him delivering a poor performance. It's just like the material and the direction suck.
Yeah.
Which, like, you look at the fucking makeup of most of the episodes and they do. They're fucking awful. They're terrible.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. All right, yeah, let's maybe like backtrack a second and like I'm not sitting here saying like, oh, you know, he's a piece of shit and he didn't fucking care about it. Like maybe he did come in with like good intentions and then maybe exactly that happened.
A show can't be built on good intentions, can it?
But maybe he came in all fucking like, you know, like full of beans and like ready to fucking go for it and then went, oh, this is not what I was expecting, and then was completely disappointed by the
Deflated.
experience. Yeah.
Yeah, I can see that happening
Maybe
as well.
maybe we can give that caveat to it kind of
Season
thing.
21?
No! I'm 10 seasons too late! How old is Jonah Hill? Out of interest, he's slightly older than us.
He's got to be older than us, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like 1,000.
I reckon he's pushing like 40 now. So that'd be born in the mid 80s. So he would have been, early teenager at the time that Simpsons was prevalent.
41.
Yeah, there you go. We nailed it. Where were you on that one, Jonah?
Recording terrible Simpsons episodes. Speaking of, the first scene was pretty funny though. So we're sort of like establishing that Bart's trying to set up a whole bunch of like elaborate pranks to do at the school.
Yep.
And he says something about an exploding pen, and Milhouse is like rocking it back and forth and goes, oh, I don't think I've heard of that before. And then it just fucking like, if that actually like was a real thing, like that person would be dead.
Blind.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the pen explodes in his face as he's speaking.
Just covers his fucking eyes, mouth, nose, everything in just pitch black ink. But it also hits like the roof behind his head. So you can imagine the force that it hit with.
Blasted him.
Yeah.
Spread its goo everywhere.
Actually milked him.
Gonna ink.
Oh, fuck Marge.
Holy fuck. Lois.
So then we get like a montage scene of Bart doing all these. I can't remember exactly what a bunch of them were. The only one that like sticks in my memory is him throwing all like the balls down the stairs and trapping them, all the teachers against the door.
Yeah,
Only
he
because
padlocked the door shut.
Yeah, it just reminds me of our muck up day.
Yes, we did something very similar.
Oh yeah, yeah, we did. That was good fun.
That may have been the last muck up day that school ever got.
Yeah, for unrelated reasons.
And
Go on.
And
What
we
did
never
what did you do?
Oh, we padlocked a building shut. Like right before a fucking like all the classes got out.
break.
And there's like this tiny ass hallway, and there's like maybe like 100 to 200 kids or something, all trying to get out this like double door and just cramming themselves in this fucking staircase.
And like turned one of the teachers' cars, like we got all underneath and picked it up and shifted it. So like obviously it's in a car space, and we turned it sideways so he couldn't get out.
Oh yeah, then we padlocked the main gate shut when we left.
Oh yeah,
Because everybody got there early. Like all the like kids got there early and thought it'd be like, oh, we'll get to school at 5:30 and take all the teachers' parking spots. And I rocked up at fucking 9 o'clock with a padlock in my fucking back of my ute. And as we were leaving, I just padlocked that car park shut. So everybody that got to school early was locked in. And fucking left.
I also
Like
remember.
suckers. And then I'm sitting out the front of my 1986 Hilux, which is revving its fucking head off while I'm waiting for it to warm down. Cool down rather. Just fucking
I also remember had sunglasses on that had like the weed leaves on them, the glittery ones. It's like you don't wear that to school.
No.
Specifically. And we also filled up fucking bucket loads of water bombs, and we were chucking it through open windows in other blocks.
Yep, I remember that. That fucking fat kid that was in like year 7 or 8 who were just trying to like nail through a window.
Yeah. I remember the teacher came down drenched.
Give me more water bombs. I've got to throw them at this fat kid.
Oh, perfect.
That and fucking, oh man, Frenchie's day got ruined. Not like concrete Frenchie, fucking
music
school
French.
music teacher Frenchie. Literally, like I think we all walked in, we just had handfuls of water bombs, air horns, silly string, everything, and he's just like staring at us for like 20 seconds. It's like, this is happening.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have come in today.
You stupid. That's got to be a button soon.
He just accepted it.
Yeah. There
So
was one other good prank that I can remember. So from that sort of big scene of pranks, it looked like Skinner was in the bathroom, but Bart had put up like fake walls that fell down, and as Skinner was taking a trip to Browntown, it opened up and he was in like the gymnasium,
At
and
a
all the
pep
kids were
rally?
there. Yeah.
So everybody's fucking there in the grandstands, completely filled.
Hey, nice. You fucking
I remember this
blew
time.
it into the mic this time.
So we get then, which is now just this massive ass fucking through line, because the first episode started with Bart getting in trouble and him being spoken to by Skinner in his office, and then we now get it again.
Yeah.
And Skinner's explaining that like Bart isn't the worst person that he's seen, but the last prank that we see is he attaches balloons to his motor, which is completely fucking unfeasible. And he opens his bonnet, his motor comes out, and he's like, "Put that back. That's a genuine like." What the fuck does he say? It's like a refurbished Yugoslavian engine. And he's like, Yugoslavia doesn't even exist anymore. So Bart shoots the balloons out and it crushes his car. Skinner says, "I can't believe you destroyed the car that I rent from Mother." Bart's like, "Rent?" And he's like, "Yeah, rent to own."
I've only got 35 more payments left.
35 payments.
Oh, there was a couple of like, that scene reminded me of a few older episodes, like the Big Butt Skinner balloon that Bart puts up in the like meteorology type episode.
The Bart Finds Comet episode, yeah.
Yeah. The BB gun one that we were discussing earlier that Nelson gets, takes it home, crooked sight, shoots something out of the air with it.
What does he shoot out of the air with it?
Bird.
He doesn't shoot it out of the air. He shoots it out of a tree.
Yeah, but it just sort of reminded me of that scene.
Oh,
Because
okay.
Bart doesn't have guns that often.
Okay.
And there was one more. I can't remember it. Anyway, we'll move on.
No, now you're like triggering my memory. There is like a third scene where somebody shoots something out of the air. No. It's when It's when Homer buys the gun and he's shooting all of Marge's fucking china and stuff like that. Then it cuts to that scene and they're eating spaghetti out of like colanders.
Yeah,
What
that's
happened to all my cookware? Then we get like the first scene of this is after Skinner has explained that there was a worse kid than Bart, and he's sort of like fucked up by that concept.
Yeah.
Then we get the first scene of the annoying ass subplot for the episode, which completely fucking threw me off because like I'm pretty sure this is the first instance we've ever seen of that unibrow baby having a mother who also has a unibrow.
Yep.
Then Manjula's there with one kid.
Yep.
One kid out of 8.
And it's clearly a different voice actor as well.
Yes, 100%. Like that didn't bother me, but it was just the whole like, oh, so we're just retconning the fact that, like this whole massive fucking storyline that you've used in like 2 or 3 episodes to this point, and then have used as a background joke several times at the Quickie Mart.
Yeah.
Like, it makes no sense to me that it's like, oh, we'll just pick one kid.
Yeah.
And fucking like no one will notice.
No.
It's not even like the first time the show's like retconned a child's continuity in the show.
Yeah.
So like real fun one is I can't remember when it is. I think it's like season 14 or 15, 16, something in that ballpark where Patty or Selma, I can't remember which one it is, adopts a child from China.
All right.
But they're also in this scene.
This is going to be my next note.
It is one of the 4 scenes that character appears in.
Jeez.
Ever.
Well, this is the next one.
Yeah.
In a span of an episode of ours, so like in this episode that we've done, Selma went from desperately wanting a man to giving up and adopting a kid of her own and being a completely overbearing single mother.
Yeah.
Which we've obviously missed the middle context, which Keegan just gave us, but I didn't know that she was only in 4 episodes because I can actually think of the other one of the other instances that she's in as well. There's an episode where I think it's like either Maggie or the other kids are at Patty and Selma's. I think maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, anybody if they're listening to it, but I feel like the concept of the episode is Homer and Marge trying to look for a godparent for Maggie because she doesn't have one. And they go over to Patty and Selma's, and Selma is just like essentially portraying the trope of an overbearing Asian parent, like literally making whatever
helicopter parent.
Whatever. No, not even like making the kid fucking like juggle and do maths on a unicycle kind of thing, like forcing them to just like study and be a perfectionist at everything kind of shit. And then it's obviously like the kid is very fucking stressed.
Yeah.
So there's 3 of the instances.
And I think it's like, I can't remember what season it is as well, where they just stopped drawing that character in. I can't even remember what her fucking name is.
Yeah, neither can I.
Yeah. But I think it's like after like maybe season 24, she just disappears entirely. Like, just gone.
Yeah, right.
The whole subplot's just like completely written out.
Yeah. Terrible.
Well, yeah, speaking of subplots being completely written out, it's like we started the episode, like it's not mentioned in this one, but at this current point in time, it's like Patty is a hardcore lesbian, as opposed to season 2, she was celibate and into men.
Yeah. That's like...
Well, it kind of makes sense then.
To a degree, but it's definitely not something that they planned. They didn't sit there and go, we're going to do this, therefore in fucking 15 years we're going to out her as a lesbian.
Yeah.
They may have looked back on that and then gone, oh, well, we've already semi-established this, like accidentally, so why don't we just roll with this kind of thing?
Not a lot of characters get like a character arc where they're redeveloped in a way.
Yeah.
Like Lisa comes to mind straight away of not being a vegetarian initially and then becoming one.
Lisa's just fucking weird now, man.
Really?
Yeah. Her at the end of this episode, just like the last like 2 scenes of her in this episode are just her repeating the word loser.
Yeah. True.
Fucking strange.
My next note says Bart finds old newspaper that gives him a timeline to find out who it was. So this is when he was trying to figure out who Andy Hamilton is because Skinner wouldn't tell him.
Yep.
And they go back and look through like archives at the library and they see like there's a fortnight missing between mid-October and the end of October, and Skinner looks like fit and like fraternity looking guy, for lack of a better way to describe it. And then he's just principal mode after that. So they figure out that that's the timeline of when he's been scarred essentially.
Yeah, something happened to him.
And I've got a quote here. And it was sort of goes back in time to that dream state, like we like to call it.
It's the kind I like!
And we see like an iteration of groundskeeper Willie, who
Swim teacher Willie, but was only introduced in the season 2 episode that occurs this week. So seeing Willie again for the second time. But he says to Principal Skinner, I shaved and waxed the boys myself. That's right. Yeah, this is that quick scene of him like shaving the kid's back, or he's got wax on it or something like that.
He's grooming me. The button would have worked already.
Oh, it would have paid for itself 5 times over. So yeah, then the prank is Skinner jumps off the high dive into what he thinks is going to be a pool of water, but it ends up being a pool of worms.
Yeah.
And then gets trapped in it over the weekend.
Yeah, the pool cover closes him in.
Yes.
And they're all in his mouth and shit. And then it's like a narration type voice of Willie saying the reason why they didn't find him was because it happened on a Friday and then it was a staff development day on the Monday, so they didn't find him till Tuesday.
Yeah.
So he was in there for 3 whole days.
And he gets out of the pool with like that vacant look in his eyes and says, shut this pool down, groundskeeper Willie.
Yes. As he likes to be called. This is when Andy Hamilton comes into the frame.
Yes. So Jonah Hill's character is introduced, but my only note for that scene is just Milhouse is dying. They're both in the house and they're sort of like being introduced to this character, and then Bart's skeptical of this can of chips that he gives him. He's like, oh, is there going to be fake like spring snakes that come out of this? And he opens it and it's a real snake. It bites Milhouse and he's like, don't worry, it's been defanged, but he can still rub venom on you.
You might want to wash that off.
Rubs the venom all over his arms and Milhouse just instantly is fucked up.
Shivering.
I was about to say, like he's sort of swaying at the table. Then it cuts to another scene where he's just on this fold out bed just going
clearly in mortal danger.
Yeah. And they're just talking in the background like this is not happening.
Yeah. Well, essentially, Andy is showing Bart through slideshows all the pranks that he's developed and delivered over the years. And Bart's like idolizing him essentially.
Yeah, kind of infatuated with the concept.
Yeah. And then tries to justify it. He sort of understands that this guy's a fucking loser.
But he's trying to like make rationalizations for why he is kind of thing. Or he's just completely looking past the facts.
Yeah, because he's telling Marge about it, isn't he? Okay.
He comes home and says something about like, oh, yeah, and when his mum comes home from work, she makes him whatever sandwich he wants. And Lisa's like, oh, yeah, cool. He sounds like a fucking loser.
Yeah. Yes.
We sort of forgot to explain the concept of that annoying ass subplot, which was the fact that, you know, they're over there for like a play date with the babies. They find out that Marge is serving processed food, so they all take the kids away.
Yeah.
They're coming back for the second one, and Marge is trying to give them, or we get that quick scene of them going to like the organic supermarket.
Yeah, I've got that here, the health food store. So they pick up just like regular household items, fruit, veggies, that sort of thing.
Yep.
The chick at the teller looks like a sort of alternative goth looking person, and then rings up the bill and it's $830. And then Homer says something about having to come back next week to buy the food, and she's like, next week?
Without preservatives, this food won't last a day in pants when it's already
wilted.
Rotting.
Yeah. It was quite a good representation of most organic foods and things like that.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
But then we get the next scene of them in the house, and once again, I've only got one note. Oh no, 2 notes for this because one of them's pretty fucking dark.
Yeah.
But did you notice what was written on that bag of stuff that she's serving? Steel cut spelt husk. It's just organic buzzwords.
Yeah.
It's not a real thing.
I know spelt is in bread sometimes,
Spelt
isn't it?
is like...
It's like a grain of some sort.
I think it's like a variation of sourdough.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, all of those words are just...
It's just like, coconut husks, which would be unbearable to eat.
Yeah.
In chunk form.
Doesn't get her skin.
In chunk form.
And this is when I think we see one of Andy's pranks in real life.
2 seconds. Before we get to that, we get a very fucking dark line, which is an ad that's on the TV. There's some jingle playing where it says puppies and kitties don't last forever, but they last longer than fish.
Wow.
It's so fucked. It's just like this baby jingle of just like, yeah, don't buy your kids fish because they'll die and you'll have to deal with that.
I remember flushing several fish down the toilet.
And hermit crabs.
Oh, yeah. I just buried those.
And, yeah, so then we get that next scene of what's Andy doing?
So there's like a street sign, like a one-way street sign, and he's spray painting, puts a B in front of it and an R at the end.
Yeah,
Bone away. And then Wiggum pulls up next to him and says something and then ends up driving the wrong way down the one-way street and crashes off camera.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which does happen a lot in these season 21 episodes. A lot of off-camera jokes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My next note goes to when Bart is trying to get Andy a job. So he goes to Krusty Studios and he sees Krusty and Krusty goes to Bart, oh, it's you.
You.
Which is like a recurring joke of Krusty still not remembering who Bart is.
Knows who he is, but does not remember his name.
Yeah, after all the things he's done for him.
Yeah.
And it's Bart's equivalent of Homer and Burns. So they've both got that dynamic with someone.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about it like that. But Bart, says that Krusty owes him a favor because he perjured himself in a trial.
Oh, God. It's probably a felony.
Yeah, 100% it's felony.
Yeah. Big
Lying in
jail
court.
time. Yeah.
I should have written down some of the stuff that Krusty says because it's fucking great. He's just got like all these dumbass stipulations as to like, he says like, yeah, he'll do anything for him, and then he just lists like 15 different like stipulations as to what he actually can't do.
Yep.
But then he gives Andy a job.
Yep.
And Andy quits it immediately.
Yeah, he's there for less than a day, and then Bart and Lisa are at home. Bart's recounting to Lisa that he's got Andy this job and he's going to do real well, and then Lisa says, why is he standing in our driveway?
Yeah, that's right. Then he walks outside, and it's kind of established from that point that Bart realizes, oh, okay, this guy's a fucking loser.
Yeah. Yep. And Andy says on the way home he picked up this gag ice cube, and it was the ice cube with the fly in it from the season 2 episode that's coming up.
Oh, fuck. I didn't even like click to that.
I put it there. I put it there. I put it there. I put it there.
Right.
That's not far away.
Yeah, it's like what? 5 weeks? Something like that?
Next week we'll get a really good season 2 episode.
Yeah, we do. Fuck, that is like a stellar episode.
Yeah.
It's going to be very good.
Tune in next week to listen to that. We won't tell you what it is. We'll give you one guess.
My next note is lard glug is a disgusting concept.
It even pours out terribly.
Yeah, it looks just like fucking...
It's like someone's taking a dump in a 2-liter bottle.
Oily grease.
Or after a big night.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fucking gross. But like to us, like give context for that, it's like Marge has gotten sick of all of this health food and she found Homer's stash that he's kept under the carpet in the corner of their room, which I think is also a recurring joke. That there is
hidden
like
chocolate in the couch pillows before.
Not only that, I think specifically that corner of the room is being used as like a snack fucking hideout before or something.
Right.
So yeah, she's eating all of the like she's trying to cram all the food in her mouth, and then he realizes that this is arousing him for some reason, that she's eating all of this junk food.
Yeah.
Then they're pouring that fucking disgusting shit into the champagne flutes.
Yeah. My next note is just hypochondriac mothers that hate everything.
Yeah.
So this is when she gets all those mothers back over for another redeeming get-together or whatever, and she's serving all like the appropriate food now, and then the other mothers realize that she's cooked it in like a non-stick pan which has all these other fucking
chemicals
in it.
They complain about the plastic cups that are being used, that they have the number 7 on the bottom of them. They all do, or something like that.
7.
So then they walk outside, and once again we get another fucking through line from the very start of the episode, because they all walk outside and they literally flag down an ambulance. It stops. They open the back doors and they pull out a stretcher with Mole Man on it and push him down the street before they all get in with their babies.
Oh, I didn't see who was on the stretcher.
Yeah, it was Mole Man.
Right, okay. So yeah, another first appearance character getting a very short scene in season 20.
Yeah. Only redeeming quality of the episode.
I wonder if in that season 2 episode, Mole Man gets in an ambulance at some point. Because I vaguely remember, like, it might have just been in Hit and Run that's triggering my memory, but there was like a bus crashed into the DMV.
Yeah, there is, but he's not. Yeah, he's not in an ambulance in the first part. He's just like taking his driving test or whatever, taking his eye test.
Yeah.
And Patty or Selma, whoever gives him the test, says something about it. That was a car. Like, you'd be dead.
There you go.
I think we're relatively at the end of the episode here because like Bart's like walking through the studios and sees that truck go past with a sarcastic guy in it. He says, I've got a delivery for Andy Hamilton. And then it says on the side of the truck, prank grade worms.
Yep. And then he walks inside and says, hey, Louie, have you seen Andy? I think, and then Louie goes, I think he's about to ruin the show. He's about 20 seasons too late. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
If only this was a season 30 episode, that joke would have been just... Because the show is essentially ruined in most people's eyes after about season 10.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that is sort of weird timing kind of thing. They could have said 10 and it would have made a lot more contextual sense.
Yes.
I don't know why they said 20 there, now that you think about it.
Even when they're taking a jab at themselves, they're
Boy, I really hope somebody got fired for that blunder.
Can't even do that right.
Yeah, that's basically all I got.
Yeah, well, because it's essentially the end of the episode there, which I'll get to the exact end in a second, but Bart sort of thinks that Krusty is being tricked about jumping into a pool of water, which has actually been turned into a pool of worms. He climbs up the scaffolding or whatever it is and jumps off a trapeze and catches Krusty in midair, who then realizes after Krusty explains it to him that no, fucking Andy is like helping me with this joke. He's like written this as a bit, and sort of everything sort of eventuates, the gag finishes, and Bart goes downstairs and Andy thanks him for like, you know, having faith in him. Bart's all real confused. Like, why the fuck are you like being serious and like not a prankster anymore? And then all of a sudden this woman comes in, sort of established that like, oh, he's an adult and he's thinking with his dick. He walks off.
This wiener will give me the quick energy.
She walks off and says something about like meet me in like the make-out or the makeup room.
Yeah.
And then he looks like at Bart, sort of like half at Bart and half down camera, and says something about
Looks like I just bought some property on Boner Way.
Which would have been a fucking great way to just finish the episode. Like everything's wrapped up in a nice little.
Mr. Simpson, no!
Not the one I
Oh,
was
I see. Then everything is wrapped up in a neat little package.
And then they have this 5 or 10 second scene of it cutting back to Lisa, and she's just still calling them both losers.
Yeah.
It's like, why? Why the fuck was that necessary?
Like, I think that line was Andy's or Jonah Hill's best one of the episode because it was a well-timed euphemism.
And it was like, it's admittedly like it's a lame joke, but that's what makes it funny.
Yeah.
I guess I'm just a big lame.
Ned, it's lame to be proud of being lame.
Yeah, like if they ended it there, not like I would have been like, this is the best episode of season 21, but I would have been like much more okay with it if they didn't then just force that fucking Lisa scene in there for no reason.
Yeah.
I was like, the joke wasn't funny the first time. You don't need to make it again.
I think the show has gotten better since season 20 for this season comparably. Like, I remember season 20 was just abysmal to watch.
Fucking terrible, yeah.
But, like, there's been a couple of, like, mid-range episodes so far for us in season 21. Like, the UFC one was pretty good.
Yeah, it had a good couple of lines.
Yeah, and that's it. At least they've got some redeeming qualities, whereas the other ones were just like a fucking bore fest.
Yeah, you're right.
Boring. Boring. Boring.
Yes, Mr. Wellborn. Everything's boring.
Anything else?
No, I'm pretty good.
Cool.
So you can find this podcast on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, never Instagram. Remember to like and subscribe, comment, share it with your friends.
Catfish.
Do whatever you like to do. And we'll speak to you guys next week.
Subscribe.
Subscribe.
Wow, ass.
So we asked ourselves, who's behind the badge? Police? Cops? Police cops.
Yeah. Well, see, the thing about that is